Hi guys, welcome back. Congrats on making it through the first two chapters of this course module. And in this chapter, we'll be covering how to do your first 1 day fast, a practical guide, and the right strategies for you to think about as you do this. At a very high level, we'll do a recap of two big slides that we've covered already. Then the focus will be how you can do your first 1 day fast. So, what happens before, during, and how you end your fast. And then the last section will be how you can progress your fasting journey from here. All right, so reminder, I'm not a doctor. These are the guiding principles I use, and I think these are very relevant for anyone who's fasting. Always remember to think from an evolutionary perspective when in doubt. Remember that your genetics take a super long time to evolve. Always question why, so think from first principles, and remember that incentives across players are not aligned. And please remember to ask yourself if you're a good candidate for fasting. There are some circumstances where I do not think people should be fasting. So, just a fair warning again. We've covered this earlier as well, but I've laid out some categories over here. So, if they're relevant to you, please talk to a doctor and avoid doing a fast. All right, let's go. So, before the fast, I have a truth bomb for you. Sadly, this is a journey that can be quite lonely and stressful. So, hang in there. This is something I found on a Reddit community that I follow, and I found it very, very relatable. So take a second and take a look at it. It's basically a reality that anyone who's fasted has experienced. A lot of us have not had the best eating habits and relationships to food, but no one told us too much about these habits directly when they saw us eating large quantities of unhealthy processed foods that weren't doing much good to us. But then when we share with the world that, hey, I'm not going to eat anything, I'm going to do a fast, people panic and think that, you're going to die, you've lost your mind, you've developed an eating disorder. So it's really stressful, but know that you're not alone. I got you. A lot of people have been through this journey before. This is another thing I found in that community, which is super, super relevant, I feel. Um, the number one rule of fasting, don't tell anyone you're fasting. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of lying in general, but from my own personal experiences, I can share that in the early days, telling others that you're fasting is extremely hard because you're already going through quite a big mental and physical challenge for yourself to do a fast. And in that state of mind, when you have a lot of people expressing concern and saying that they think you're going to die, it's really not helpful. And it makes the whole experience and process of fasting a lot harder. So I would say initially, don't tell people you're fasting, lie to them. So if you're at an office space and someone makes a comment about you not eating lunch, just tell them, hey, I had a very heavy breakfast. Seriously, it'll save you a lot of hassle. Um, and once you're more confident in your own fasting journey, you've done it a few times, then you may choose to share it with people. But this is my tip, take it or leave it. So let's define a fast, right? You might hear different people talk about fasting with different definitions. The way I define it is 0 calories being consumed, right? So you're not eating anything, there are no calories being consumed by you. And I think about fasting having three levels. So for beginners who are level one, I would say only stop eating food, right? That's already a big enough challenge. The one call out would be avoid having 0 calorie artificial sweeteners. So it might be tempting for you to go for a diet cola or some gum to get some flavor in, and they say that it's 0 calorie and it has artificial sweeteners in it. The reason is that I feel like this makes the fast a lot harder, and a lot of people have shared this experience. So, so avoid it. It's not really good for you. A level two would be a medium level. This is where you can start dealing with some of your addictions, right? So you could start considering giving up caffeine or nicotine or any other addictions that you have, even though they might be 0 calorie, right? So for a level one beginner like you who's watching this video, I would say if you have a nicotine or caffeine addiction, carry on with it, right? Because when you're doing your first 1 day fast, if you also give up, say, black coffee that you have a few times a day, you're going to not be feeling very good on your fast. And a lot of it is the caffeine withdrawal that you have. Similarly with nicotine, right? Continue with it. The zero calorie, yes, it's not the perfect way to do a fast, but I would say carry on with it. And as you've done a few fasts, then you can think about how you wean out those addictions as well for the fast. And then level three, which is advanced, would be only water. So literally nothing else, just water. But that takes time and a lot of like experience and willpower in my own experience, I would say. Cool. So a lot of fasting is about the strategies and mindset. So let's cover that now. Listen to your body. This is really not a competition. It's like when you go to the gym, when you're doing yoga, something like that. The only thing is to compare to yourself, right? There's no one else you need to look at, not me, not anyone else on the internet who talks about it. Just listen to your body. If your body doesn't feel like it, just end it and you can start again later. Build up the stamina, right? So I like to think about fasting like running a race, right? If you have never run a marathon, you're not going to wake up the next morning and run a marathon. You're going to build up to it by running like half a kilometer, 1 kilometer, 5 kilometer, and then over days and weeks and months with the right training, you'll get to a marathon. Fasting is similar as well. If you've never gone a day in your life without skipping a meal, then skipping one meal is going to be hard, and do that, and that's okay. Be gentle on yourself. Take it one day at a time, and keep building up the stamina. Right? Remember, I've done this over 7 years. Right? So if you're starting now, that's okay. Take your time. It's really important to pick the right day to do a fast. I personally love to start my fast on Sunday night after dinner, and especially if I'm doing a 24 or 36-hour fast, I think a Sunday night to Monday night is super nice. Mondays tend to be the least social day of the week for me, so I find it really easy to just put in this fast without having to turn down a dinner invitation from someone. That's the challenge you would run into if you try to do a fast on a Friday or a Saturday, where a lot of our social calendars are busier at that point of the week, whereas Mondays, most people are not hanging out with others. So I find that to be quite easy. But see your schedule, see what works out for you, and pick that right day. This will make it easier to actually complete your fast and do it in a more stress free fashion, in my view. And yeah, the beauty is if something is not feeling right, it's okay to end a fast. The thing is, you can sleep, and in a day or two or the very next morning, you can start again. So it's one of those things where I feel like every morning you wake up, you have this chance to decide do you want to do a fast or not. So there's no stress to end it. I do it all the time when I'm not feeling up to it. And sleep is this beautiful time bonus that you get during a fast. So if you're trying to do a 24-hour fast, just know 8 of these hours hopefully will be free when you sleep. Or if you sleep 6 hours, 7 hours, you're going to get those hours for free. Your body is always fasting when you sleep. There's a reason why it's called breakfast. It's break a fast. So that's always fun when you're counting those minutes and hours to get through a fast. And then remember, right, the real challenge with fasting is it's all in the mind. Your body is completely fine to go without food for 24 hours. So the challenge and everything is a mental challenge more than anything else. And yeah, again, initially, don't tell people you're fasting. You might have to tell your loved ones, family members if you're living with them. But yeah, this is a hard one. If you can avoid telling them, don't tell them as well. All right. So in order to do your first 24-hour fast, this is a slight progression that you could try to do. It might take you a few days, a few weeks. Again, this is a recommendation, it's not set in stone. You can try to jump right into your 24-hour fast, but maybe you can do it in three phases like this, right? So, the first phase can be skipping one meal. So, if you eat 3 meals a day, let's say it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, on one day, just skip lunch. See how it feels, right? Start getting comfortable with this sensation of not eating a meal, seeing what it does to your mood, and gradually just working on that and getting comfortable with that. So if you've done one day where you skip lunch, then after a few days, skip breakfast. After a few days, skip dinner. So you're kind of surprising your body with which meal it may not get, and you're also just getting used to the idea mentally of not eating a meal. And once you're feeling comfortable with this, or if you do it one time and skipping one meal was super easy, then you can jump right to phase two, which is skipping two meals. So the good thing here is you can still eat one big meal, but just skip two meals. Um, Also, I'm really not talking about snacking over here. That's also something you should be working on, because you're not going to be snacking when you're fasting. And then phase three. So a lot of the people I've worked with in the past, they've gone straight to phase three as well. This is up to you, uh, and that's when you actually do your first 24-hour fast. Yeah. So a lot about, like, the funny thing about fasting is you'll see that you think a lot about food in the build up to a fast. When you're doing the fast, you're going to think about food as well at times. And then when you end the fast, also, it's quite important with what food you end up eating. So now let's look at the last meal before a fast. I think that if you work on this aspect of the fasting journey, you can make the actual fast a lot easier. So, this is a good to have in my view, but it's a big one. This is probably one of the key areas that has improved my fasting journeys and allowed me to do the longer fast that I've done. The longer you can eat raw plant foods before a fast, the easier the fast will be. Right? Somehow, at least in my experience and a lot of the reading that I do, the body just seems to be functioning very well if you're giving it like salads and fruits and nuts and things like olive oil, maybe some salt, but not giving it processed foods, dairy, meat. So I would say if you're trying to do your first 1 day fast, maybe try to eat clean for like 1 to 2 days before your fast. Again, it's not necessary. It will just make your fasting experience a lot easier. The body will find it easier to go into ketosis during the fast. And yeah, I'm not anti meat actually. I just think that with meat and dairy, they're harder on your digestion. They take a longer time to digest. So if you cut these out for a little bit before your fast, going into the fast will actually be a lot easier for you. And the big thing I call out is just avoid foods that are leading to a high insulin spike. Because when there's an insulin spike, it also comes with a crash and you're not going to be feeling good. That's the really tired and drowsy feeling you have after a big meal. So typically, this would be like sugary, fried, and processed foods. So eating like chips, for example, or bars of chocolate, um, eating burgers, pizzas, all of these things that we really crave, they would make going into the fast harder. All right. So now in the next phase, this is when you are actually doing the fast. I want to call out that there's going to be some normal symptoms. These are quite frequent. This is not an exhaustive list, but at least it's a start, right? So one is hunger. With hunger, it's something that comes and goes. As you fast, you're going to learn to start observing your hunger, sitting with it, seeing what happens. Please trust me, if you do feel hungry during your fast, it's not a feeling that doesn't go away. Typically, in about 30 to 75 minutes at the highest, that feeling of hunger that you get goes away. So it's okay. Try to sit with it and observe it. A lot of people get slight headaches. They might get a little more intense as well. It's normally somewhere that you do need to kind of hydrate. So have some water. Try to go for a walk and give yourself a distraction. That really helps. Or just rest a little bit, right? Shut your eyes. If you can, lie down for 5-10 minutes. Hopefully, it doesn't get too intense. You're going to have to go and pee a lot. This is normal. Your body is shedding a lot of water during a fast. That does happen. So you're also in hand, you're going to also hydrate more than you normally would during a fast. And also on that point, like, try to like be close to a toilet if you can the day you do your first fast. It just makes the experience less stressful for you, right? So if you're going to be outdoors on like a construction site and you're not going to have access to a toilet, that might make the fasting experience a bit more stressful for you. Yeah, you will shed a bunch of weight when you do your 24-hour fast. And initially, a lot of this is just like water that's being shed by your body, as we just spoke about. And then there's a gradual, steady fat loss as well that does happen. And the longer you fast for, the more the steady fat loss will happen for. But The last part is around, for your initial fast, the first 2 days are like pretty hard. You might not be feeling the best in terms of mood. You might be feeling a little cranky. You might be feeling tired, low energy. It gets easier with time, right? What's happening? Let me sum it up, right? In our normal day to day diet, we eat foods that get converted to glycogen, right? We are having a lot of carbohydrates in our diet, whether it's bread, rice, fruits, vegetables. All of these have carbohydrates that get converted to glycogen in our body, and our body is burning the glycogen to give us energy. We also have fat reserves in our body, and in order to tap into these fat reserves, we need to increase our ketone production. So you might have heard about the keto diet. This is effectively what's happening over there. And the same thing happens in fasting. So when you stop eating food, your body will run out of all of the glycogen that it already has. So it's going to burn through all of that. In parallel, the ketone production in your body is going to start going up. So you can go into ketosis to start burning your fat, right? This transition into ketosis takes some time, and that's when you're not going to be feeling too good. It's called like fasting flu or fever. Even keto, they talk about this concept. The moment you're into ketosis, things get a lot easier. So, since you're doing your first fast this time, your body is going to take some time to transition into ketosis. And that's what's not going to make you feel good. But the more you fast, you'll actually start feeling easier each time you do it because your body will go into ketosis faster. A lot of people report that their sleep quality declines. This happens to me sometimes as well, so it's normal. But if I do longer fasts, actually my sleep quality improves. So there's a bit of a up and down on this one. And then, yeah, at times I've experienced light acidity as well. So I would just drink water. If you're feeling quite acidic, then maybe not having black coffees might also help you out. Maybe transitioning to herbal teas like a green tea, which still has some caffeine, or if you can go to a peppermint tea, a chamomile tea, some of these teas also could be pretty nice. And then there's some like danger symptoms, right? The moment you see any one of these symptoms, I would say end your fast, rest, and then try to do your fast again on another day. That works out for you. So if you faint, if you feel like you've gotten close to that or are feeling extremely lightheaded, end, bad sign. Any kind of like palpitation or like fast heart beating, that's not a good sign. That's not normal. Severe body aches. So you might experience some aches and niggles here and there, but a severe ache where you feel like you're in massive pain, or in general, I would say anything that feels severely out of the ordinary, um, I would end the fast, and then like look into what's happening over there. Also, ending the fast is super easy, right? At this stage, when you're doing just a 24-hour fast, honestly, just eat a fruit, end that fast. It's not hard to do that. Yes, there's a right way to end a fast, and we're going to talk about that, but it's better to just end a fast and start feeling normal again if you get one of these symptoms. And yeah, just listen to your body. If it's saying no, if today is not the right day, that's fine, right? Move on from there. And yeah, now on the positive side, these are some fun symptoms. They get more pronounced as you do longer fasts. But yeah, you might start experiencing these even in your first 24-hour fast. I've had a few people who have had these experiences. So yeah, skin, honestly, after you've done a first few fasts, your skin does get clearer. It will start looking younger. I love this. People will see this around you as well once you've done a few fasts. But yeah, especially if you do a 3 day, 5 day, 7 day fast, it gets a lot clearer. Then energy levels will actually start improving after some fasts. The way to describe it is there are fewer rises and crashes in energy level. It becomes a little more static, and that really helps with the frame of mind improving as well. The sense of smell gets pretty sharp. When I come to the office during a fast, I can actually smell foods very clearly. Or if I'm grocery shopping, that's pretty nice. Especially if there's foods you like, you may not be eating them, but the sensory experience of the smell is phenomenal. It's really fun. Yeah, just in general, clarity goes up, and that's always a fun part for me. I get more work done. I get more productive. And I really, really look forward to that. And then for me, this is one of the core things I get out of fasting, which is like an improved relationship with food. So you're going to have a lot of time not eating, and you will observe around you people who are eating lunch, who are eating dinner. You will see them snacking. It will give you a chance to sit back and see how you would have also eaten like them. What would you have eaten? And it'll give you a chance to think about it, because you may or may not be hungry when you're eating. A lot of our eating and relationship with food is just habitual. We eat at a certain time, our lunch, and so we just keep on doing it, whether we're hungry or not. Um, and there are times we're not making the best food decisions. Um, I've seen very often that during a fast, if I've had a stressful experience personally or because of my work, I feel a stronger urge to go and grab something like a pizza or a chocolate. And that's interesting to observe that I do have a response. And as I fast, I can actually work on that relationship. So that's really powerful for me, and it's really helped me change my eating habits. I hope you get some of these. But if you don't be dejected. As you do more and as you do longer fasts, you should get there. All right. So some tips and tricks. Hopefully, this will make your fasting journey a little bit easier. So I'd say one, hydrate a lot. Drink at least 3 to 4 liters of water during the day, if not more. Don't have too much. I think it can be risky if you go above like 10 liters of water a day. That could also impact your electrolyte levels. So don't go crazy, but have at least 3 4 liters of water. You might need a little bit more based on your level of physical activity and the heat you're exposed to, how much you sweat. So yeah, keep that in mind. Often, if you're feeling tired and faint, it might be because you're not hydrating enough. Sometimes, when I'm feeling low energy, having mineral water is a great hack. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's the minerals in it. Maybe it's just a mind trick. But I feel like once I've had some mineral water, sometimes I might have like fizzy mineral water also. It gives me some energy. I start feeling better and calmer again. And another one to get some more energy is to just have a pinch of salt with water. Honestly, a pinch or 2 pinches if you really feel like. Don't have a spoonful. It may be tempting to have like a savory flavor. And if this works out for you and you start feeling more energetic, which is my hope, you may be tempted to then have bigger quantities. Avoid doing that, ideally. So I personally spend a lot of my time watching some motivational videos. That makes it much easier for me to do my fast. Just videos like maybe my talks to you or stuff that you can find on YouTube that help you remember why you're doing this fast and show you the big benefits that are happening to your body during this fast. Make it easier to do that fast. Yeah, and also you can distract yourself with things like walks during a fast. At times, your energy levels dip so much, you're getting too agitated about the fact that you can't eat food, you're just not feeling very good. Find a distraction that works for you. For me, walks are great. Being out in nature, if there's sunlight especially, is phenomenal. Find what works for you. This is a last resort, I would say. If you really are struggling during the fast, have 1 teaspoon of something like coconut oil or ghee, maybe even olive oil, if that's what you have around you. That little bit of fat will give you some energy. It might satiate you. And the good thing is that it won't spike your insulin levels too high. So, if you try to do this with, say, a small fruit or a piece of candy, it'll feel good, but then you'll have a insulin spike and you're going to want to eat more food. And if you don't, the crash is going to feel really bad, especially when you've been fasting for a few hours at this point. So, the big question all of you will have is, hey, am I going to feel hungry during a fast? We've covered this already, but the real answer is initially you will feel a little bit hungry, um, and you might find yourself thinking a lot about food. I've spent a lot of my time during fasting watching videos of how food is being produced, people eating the foods that I'm craving the most at the time of my fast. That's normal. Do what you have to do. Over time, I don't do that much, but I might still have days where I feel like, by the way. Um, the key thing is that you'll start recognizing the difference between physiological and psychological hunger. So, physiological hunger is when your body is hungry, is sending you clear signals that, hey, I need to eat, I am hungry. And psychological hunger is more of the cravings, right? Where it's the mind telling you that, hey, it's time to eat. Wouldn't it be nice to eat right now? Oh, the other person over there is having an apple. I feel like eating one too, or a donut, right? Most often. Um, so that's the core thing is that you'll see that there's a lot of psychological hunger. And most times you find yourself wanting to go eat food. It's psychological and not actual physiological hunger. Second question is, can I work out during a fast? So I'd say be gentle. If it's your first fast and you're only doing a 1 day fast, avoid it if you feel like, right? Or if you do want to do your workout, just tone it down a bit. So if I normally do, say, a workout that's a 10 out of a 10, then during my fast, I'll try to do a workout that's like somewhere between a 6 and a 7. So I'm not going to do like any crazy running or crazy weights. And the other one I'd call out is just avoid the sauna. So again, if it's your first fast, you can fully avoid the gym for that day, or otherwise just go in and be gentle. The reason I would avoid the sauna, by the way, is that it could impact your electrolyte levels, and we don't want that during a fast. All right. So we've covered before and during the fast, and now we'll look at how we can end our fast and our journey forward from here. So first of all, when you're done with your fast, please be super mindful of your accomplishment. Thank your body. It's a phenomenal thing you've done for yourself. And just take a moment to recognize the special experience that you've been through. Um, Honestly, this is the hardest part of a fast for me. Harder than doing the fast is ending the fast. It's super easy to not be mindful of what I'm eating when I end a fast, and that's something a lot of people have reported. But try your best. I'm going to give you suggestions on how you do it. Um, but I know it's hard. And as much as I'm going to give you tips for the fasting journey, for ending it, making mistakes is good as well because then you learn for yourself what your body feels like when you make these mistakes. And then some of the things I'm telling you might make more sense. So the key thing with ending the fast is you're not eating food, you're actually like feeding your body with good quality fuel. If you think like that, it makes it a bit nicer. And so if you give it like nutritious, good foods, then it helps your body, which has helped you do this beautiful fast. And it's also feeding your gut microbiome. I would say eat something light, basically like watery, nutritious foods and foods that don't lead to an insulin spike or crash. So some really good foods would be things like salads, which have like juicy vegetables. So like lettuce, tomatoes, cucumber, uh, carrot maybe. Having light soups. I've intentionally not said things like broccoli because they're very fibrous. You can have it. I don't think it's a big no-no. Uh, it'll just be a little bit harder on your system. Bone and vegetable broths are also really nice to have. They're very nutritious for you. Same way, green vegetable juices, basically, which might have some fruit in it. Personally, I like berries as well. If I do really want to eat something sweet, I'll try to go for something like berries. And honestly, try your best to eat normally. Um, the toughest thing is you might find yourself wanting to and actually overeating when you end your fast because there's this thing of like, hey, I've gone one whole day without eating food. Now I've kind of earned this and I deserve this. And you also have like ravenous hunger. Try to be as calm as you can and to not overeat. I know it's really hard, but try your best. And you're just trying to be gentle on your digestion. If you do end your fast with, say, fried chicken or like some heavy processed food, like a naan, you can do it. Your digestion may not feel that good the next morning, though. So I'm calling it out, your decision again. And now let's look at your fasting journey from here. So first element we look at within that is duration. So you've done like we went through the progression earlier. So you've done phase 3, which is your first 24-hour fast. After this, Phase 4 can be trying to build up to a 36-hour fast. Personally, I've done this a lot in my fasting journey. I would eat my dinner on a Sunday and then I would follow that up with breakfast on Tuesday. That's 36 hours. And if I can make it till lunch on Tuesday, then that's 40 hours right there. Phase 5 would be building up to a 48-hour fast, which is dinner on Sunday followed by dinner on Tuesday. Again, this is my preferred way of doing it. And then phase 6 is getting to 72 hours and beyond. 72 hours is a nice duration in fasting because there's tremendous health benefits once you get towards a 72-hour fast. So you're getting benefits the moment you start fasting, and these benefits keep going up till 72 hours. The second thing you can look at in your fasting journey is the frequency of fasting. So, some formats that are popular, you can start narrowing your eating windows. So, we're typically eating for like 16, 17 hours a day. A lot of people will try to eat only for like 4 hours a day or 8 or even 12. As long as it's going down, you're getting into this like intermittent fasting territory. And there are health benefits to doing this. Another one is eating just one meal a day. So effectively, when you do this, you're getting about 23 to 24 hours of fasting every single day, right? So you can try to do this, say, once a week. So you're getting in a 24-hour fast. So Sunday dinner followed by Monday dinner. I do this personally whenever I can. That's a 24-hour fast. Some people will do this a few times every week. And then I know there's people who live like this. They only eat one meal every single day. Um, I've tried to do this. It gets really hard, especially with socialization. Um, and though I do think there's merit to do it as lunch or breakfast as being the only meal in the day, um, I would end up keeping that one meal to be dinner because that makes your social life a lot easier with the fast. Then some people try to do a fast once a week. You can try to do that, 24 to 40-hour fast. Um, Another one would be trying to do a fast once a month. This can be anywhere from 24 to 72 hours. So, yeah, really what you're playing with over here is the frequency of fasting. And then the third lever you can look at in your fasting journey is the levels of fasting that we touched upon earlier, right? So, you can start going from a beginner level one, which is only to stop eating food, but carrying on with caffeine and nicotine, and gradually build towards the advanced level where it's only water. This takes time. But yeah, so you have these three levers of the duration of fasting, so how many hours you're fasting, and the frequency at which you're fasting, and then the third would be the level at which you're fasting. What are you giving up? But in general, like on your journey, I would say, hey, just fast whenever you can. The beauty is you can do this every single day. You're doing it for a few hours when you sleep already. You can try to come up with a regimen, but be easy on yourself because it's hard to do this when you have stressful periods in your life, right? With work, family life, or if you're traveling, there's a lot of socialization happening during the summers. It's okay. Just fast whenever you can. Your body will have a lot of benefits for it. And yeah, thank you so much. You made it to the end of this course. So I would say thank you so much for being part of this journey. And stay healthy, enjoy your fasting journey. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.